order?
Mickey said it was 8:59.
What?
1 minute early.
Policy and Procedure Committee, May 2nd, 2019, 9 a.m. And call the roll, please.
Barons,
Here.
Awful,
Here.
Shirt,
Here.
Sticknut,
Here.
Alt,
Here. Here.
Our motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Or second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion's approved. Public comments. Seeing none, we'll go to the committee chair reports. Mr. Rowe?
Transportation Committee will meet Friday the 10th. We have 4 engineering agreements to look over and approve, and the rest of it's normal claims. And petition for county aid for Melford and Ash Grove Township.
I guess since Mr. Moore isn't here this morning, I can ask you this question. Maybe you might know if there's any problems going on with the GATA. So,
I gave it at the Jim
I
Devine
keep getting these emails.
I gave it to Jim Devine to look at. I think that's what you're referring to.
Okay.
He hadn't had time to look at it yet, I don't think.
There's another thing that I would like to know if your committee's gonna talk about.
Heck is it? We have coffee and donuts and have a good time out there. I don't know what this is.
That's what concerns me.
Yeah, why? By that time on Friday, you don't get up in time to get there for it, or what? I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I can't really tell you what it is. I don't think we've talked about it.
Well, why don't you take a look at it and see whether that's something that you wanna talk about. It has, it's House Bill 102, talks about giving the counties the authority to levy, I think it's 5 cents on the gas tax. And I believe that money would then be used on
This is
local
through the
roads
filling
and
stations?
highways. What?
Through the filling station?
Yes.
Well, a good Indiana as it is for
Well,
gasoline.
it's something that I don't know how broadly we wanna discuss it at this time, especially openly. I
Okay.
don't know what our intentions might be, but it's something that the committee might wanna look at it just to kinda keep up on what's going on. Mr. Barons, management and judicial.
Management, we had a special meeting Tuesday with Citron on updating the solar farm, where the legislation is on that and everything. And they also asked us if we were wanting to do a after the meter project, so we're looking into what that would, how that might benefit us. So we'll be discussing that at the meeting, as long as, and then just regular reports from the rest of the stuff. Judicial, it's gonna be regular reports.
I thought you got something else going on at judicial.
There will be well, I'm not sure exactly what it's resolution maybe from Lisa Hines.
Relative to the new structure on fines and so forth.
Yeah. That'll be included in her report.
Most likely, so.
This again is something that's coming out of Springfield. And it's somewhat to the detriment of the county. Raising the fines but reducing the part that we get to keep. Okay, this is awful. House Committee.
Well, really nothing new to report.
Okay, Mr. Stickler, Tax Committee.
Other than the department head reports, I have had no requests for anything else to be put on the agenda. I was hoping or expecting that Inca Brasa would be back with some information for us, but I haven't heard anything yet. So, other than that, I have nothing.
Lisa, didn't you have something for the tax committee?
Yeah, I think you'll have to approve that list of, parcels that get voided.
Okay.
So tax bills don't go out to it. It's annual, it's sent to us by Ballingers, and it's all parcels that they have taken on behalf of the county. So obviously, we don't want a tax bill to be sent to them. So it's just a list that you'll get. I'm not sure if it's a resolution that's included with it. And I think it's on the agenda already.
Okay.
So same thing that, you do it every year, and, who's our treasurer? Gert, he has a copy of it too, and Yvonne, so they know all about it too, so.
Another thing that came about partially as a result of the management committee meeting the other day is the ordinance regarding the solar farms. And you were talking about that a couple months ago.
Mhm.
I didn't make the last meeting, unfortunately, but I think that one of the things that came about as a result of the meeting the other day was that if we are gonna make changes in that ordinance, we need to get them done before we enter into any kind of an agreement with these other people. And one of the things that was brought out in the meeting was that the lady that was there said, when they were talking about decommissioning, she said, "Oh, we'll give you a bond. Hey, we'll renew it every year.
Yeah.
That way, if we go bankrupt."
But Bob, do you have the final solar ordinance done?
I'm not responsible for doing final solar ordinance. There's been back and forth from, we had one that was adopted, and then there was some minor language changes that wanted to be done, and it went to Jim. I don't know if he's ever finished it or not. But as far as the revise, I've talked to Jim about your request for decommissioning and that, and changing the ordinance for that. And he said the committee needs to make the changes they want to make, and send it to him, and he will decide if it needs a public hearing or not, if he considers it a substantial change or not. So the onus on the solar, changing of the ordinance for decommissioning is on the zoning committee at this point. As Jim said, I'm not gonna rule on anything until I see what it is. And if he decides it's a substantial change, we'll have to go through the hearing process. If he decides it's not a substantial change, then it can just be adopted by the full board and revised.
I would just like to see something in my hand so that we know what we're
All I
talking
have is the one that was the only one I have is the one that was adopted by the full board, and that's the one we've been using, and, so,
Really, all I have is,
and we do have, just on that note, we have one solar farm that won the lottery, so, out of all the ones we have one, so. That's coming, and so they'll be submitting stuff probably fairly soon. We've already asked about access permit off the township road, we're working on that, so. But, that process will start, but that's under the solar ordinance that we adopted originally, so.
so do you have a copy that could be distributed to my committee members so that we could see what we're looking at?
I mean, it says proposed, but it's on the website.
Okay.
That's the one that was adopted by the full board. Now, there were some minor language changes that Chad and Jim and I know John wanted to have looked at, and I've not seen anything since all that this discussion was done after the adoption of that ordinance, so.
Okay.
And as far as I know, it's sitting across the street.
Okay.
I guess the one is we need to take the bull by the horns and get that thing done.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
on your Inca Brasso comment, I know they met officially again with the Burke West School Board last night to have a special meeting, because I I'm just speculating, but I'm guessing they waited until the new board was seated to propose it again, so you probably won't hear nothing for tax this week, but I will assume next month they'll be in, depending on what the IRPA West board decided to do.
Okay.
Okay, chairman comments, the only thing I have, pass this around. Next Monday, I'll be going over to Pontiac, I guess, meet with whoever else is coming from the area, other counties and so forth. Meet with Senator Barrickman regarding capital expenditure projects and so forth. So what I'm looking for between now and that time is whatever information or thoughts we have about various capital projects that we want to get done, where we might be getting some assistance from state sources. I know we talked about some work on some of the parking lots here. And I believe we talked about a roof, new roof for the jail, was it, Lyle?
In the next few years, they're
Yeah,
figuring.
so I mean, those kind of things, I need to know specifically, you know, what they are, when we're wanting to do them, and what some idea of the cost is. But if anybody has any projects that they wanna bring up, let me know, because this is something that Barrickman says that the downstate, they're trying to get some ideas and put together some things that help local governments with capital projects, so. I would imagine maybe those voting machines that you have might be something to think about too, Lisa. But I'll need that information pretty quick, so. Okay, next is Mr. Cece with his EMA report.
It's just my scrap paper that I had, so.
You have your water wings with you this morning?
Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about that. But first, over the past month, hosted EOP development and review. It's an IEMA taught class to the class on the 10th and 11th of April. I know it very well. Attended a long-term recovery committee meeting on the 15th of April to review some cases from the last flood in 2018. Had a site visit from the regional coordinator from IEMA on the 23rd of April to discuss some new tools that I'm required to fill out. I mentioned a couple months ago a new tool, Illinois, ILCAT, Illinois Capability Assessment Thyroid Tool, 101-page PDF document that I need to fill out. So that went fine. I attended the IESMA Training Summit, 25th and 26th of April. IESMA is a mutual aid association of emergency managers in the state of Illinois. At that summit, my assistant, Michael Johnson, received the Volunteer of the Year award. So if you see him out in the public, do congratulate him. That is throughout the entire state of Illinois. He was selected mainly because last year he served 1,000 documented hours of volunteer time for Iroquois County. So if you see him, give him a clap on the back. And I've been working on some quarterly grant reports, which I finished up yesterday. Looking into next month, I have an LEPC meeting on the 14th of May. Main things we'll talk about is commodity flow study and a tabletop exercise. We're working with the Garage, a community center in Gilman. They're interested in, they've asked me to help them look over their emergency plans and to start planning an exercise in the coming years for them. And an IEMA Region 7 quarterly meeting on the 16th of May. Any questions about that before I talk about water? Cool. Over the past 5 days, on average, Iroquois County has received somewhere around 3.5 inches of rain. I get that from CoCoRaHS, which is a volunteer network of scientific precipitation data. Currently, Iroquois River is at 20 feet. I'm expecting it to crest at 20.5 feet tonight. That is below predicted levels, the last predicted level that was put out last night by the National Weather Service. Just the way the river is starting to crest now, I can see it's not gonna quite make what it's currently predicted at 21. Iroquois River at Shabance, that's a Sugar Island Bridge just in Kankakee County. That is currently at 15 feet, expected to crest maybe around 16 feet on Friday. Sugar Creek, the gauge at Milford, that is currently just under 19 feet. That crest, right now, at its current arc, it looks like it'll crest at 20 feet, but with this rain, I imagine it'll crest a little bit higher than that. And I expect it to happen today. All that to be said, all this is still within the minor flood stage. If we continue to get large amounts of rain, I'll be very concerned. We have had a series of flooded roadways. I just received a report while we had this meeting that all county roads are clear. If you want to pass that around. It's okay, it's a piece of paper. Those were flooded yesterday. No interstate, and obviously not US 24 here in town. US 45 at Delray, Old 45 in between Shabance and Clifton. A couple roads on Morocco Road headed east out of Beaverville towards Indiana, so on and so forth. Typical roads that I've seen flooded before.
US 45, that barricade in Onaga going south was off on the side of the road this morning, so I'm wondering if that order has gotten off the pavement there.
It may have. It usually will go off pretty quick. Last update I received from IDOT was last night, saying that they closed that road. But by this morning, it may be off. We had a relatively dry night, so hopefully it may be open at this point in time, but I haven't received an update from IDOT yet. But that is what I'm currently looking at. So in conclusion, right now, minor flood stage, and I'm monitoring very closely. And we'll let you know if I think it's going to get worse.
Okay. Don't run away. We don't have a copy of the social media policy with us this morning. Well, you were gonna, last time we talked about it, which was a couple months ago, you were gonna make some changes to encompass the whole county. Has that been done?
Yes, after last policy.
Do we have a copy of that changes?
After last month, I made those changes. Basically, I just took out EMA and put in Iroquois County Agency. It's pretty much the only change I made throughout the document. I believe I sent that to,
I did it. Send it to me and I sent it to all
all the department heads.
the departments.
Thank you. So I made those changes. They went out to department heads. By and large, it's the same document you looked at last month.
2 months ago, we didn't meet last month.
We didn't meet last month? Okay.
Was there any feedback from the department heads?
Well, we met on March 28th, excuse me.
Technically, two
Didn't
months
meet
ago.
during.
You're right. This is meant as a supplemental policy, not meant as anything to replace any of our current computer policies, specific to social media.
Do you want me to go grab it?
Well, was there any feedback from any of the department heads?
I did send it to, I sent it to the committee.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I've looked at it and I don't have any issues with it. I just don't know if somebody had any questions about it. If we had a copy here, we could.
Sure.
Would you like me to go grab a copy?
John?
Do you want me to go grab copies?
No,
I'm
I
waiting
didn't
to
know
see
if
if
you were-
anybody has any desire to do that.
I think we had pretty much discussed it, and basically, the name change was the only thing that anybody was really concerned about, as far as I know.
As far as I'm concerned, assuming that that's been done satisfactorily, we can go ahead and approve it.
So moved.
Anybody care to make a second?
Second.
Okay.
Could I get the correct wording on that motion?
So moved.
He's moving
I move that we approve the social media policy as presented by Mr. Sacy.
You call the roll on that because it's county-wide policy.
Barron,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Sure,
Yes,
Stigma,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes,
okay, that is approved. Flood matters in Iroquois County. Existing situation that we're in right now, notwithstanding, I wanted to give you just a brief summary of what's happened over the last month. On April 14th, there was a meeting held at the Kankakee River Basin Commission over in North Judson, Indiana. I wasn't able to attend that meeting. Mr. Alt attended that meeting, and Mr. Zumwalt attended that meeting in my absence. Do you have any comments about that meeting?
forgot to bring my notes in on it, but they were tentatively, they admitted they probably changed a number of times before it's ever put into effect. They're thinking about $1 per tillable acre taxing on people within the drainage district. Non-tillable acres was $3 an acre, I believe. Don't remember what the commercial sites were. They were quite a bit more.
It's all in that, right there, that House Bill 1270 in Indiana was passed. Moved on to the governor for a signature. It gives you a breakdown of what they'd be charging, assuming or estimating it'll generate $2.99 million per year for the Kankakee River Basin.
Yeah, here is $2 for undeveloped commercial parcel, $7 per residential assessment, $50 per commercial property, and $360 per parcel on utility industrial properties.
In addition to that, on April 24th, I got an email from Scott Pelas, who's the executive director of the Kankakee River Basin Commission. In that email, he says that the Indiana General Assembly gave final approval to their new 2-year state budget, 2 years. And as requested, the measure dedicates $2.3 million in state dollars to the Kankakee River Basin. Basically, what all these things mean to me is that not only are those people very serious over there, but they're getting the financing by which they can do things. And it puts the onus upon us over here to get going and do something similar. We're still working on that. We'll continue to work on that. But I just want to keep you apprised of what the people in Indiana are doing. Obviously, they're sending their water over here. We have to be able to handle it, or it's going to not only create problems for us of a greater magnitude, but it also creates problems for them. That's kind of where we're at in a nutshell on the.
Yeah, I felt too, they felt pretty serious about this whole matter. They wanted to put it forward, and we're talking about the next meeting and the next meeting.
Since day one, I've been impressed by how serious they are about the whole project and the things that they're doing.
The room was filled, people standing.
Yep.
Rather than run out of seating, and they were talking about it going to a larger capacity room with more seating for the next meeting because people were coming.
Yep. Okay, next was an update on the request for the GATA stuff, which Joe isn't here, which is stuff, we'll bypass that. So we'll move on to going into executive session. For which I would entertain a motion at this time.
I so move to go in executive session.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes, we'll be going into executive session.